Nigerian security forces have launched a crackdown on protesters holding Russian flags in the End Bad Governance protests, which turned violent, especially in the north. So far, over 90 people have been arrested in some cities across the region. Russia's national flag, Russian embassy in Nigeria has distanced itself from the protest. Now, Nigeria is really asking questions on the consequences of waving the Russian flags and what are the implications on this and who may be responsible for some of these things. And meanwhile, the Nigeria police on Tuesday announced the arrest of foreign nationals suspected of being the sponsors of the protest and then the waving of the Russian flags. And in all, the police said they have commenced trial of over 800 persons that have been arrested in the course of the protest. And tonight on Daily Politics, we get to know more from experts here in the studio. We have Ambassador Haruna Warkani. He's a diplomat who is an international relations commentator, and he has only worked very well at the ECOWAS Commission. And we also have in the studio Barrister Hussaini, who is a legal practitioner. Gentlemen, you are welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you safe, and we hope you drop safe from your various houses.
Thank you.
Yes, but before the commencement of the program, here are some tidbits. The Nigeria Customs on Tuesday asked protesters to expect drastic reduction in prices of food items as soon as possible. Comptroller General of the Customs, Bashir Adeni, stated this at the Defense Headquarters in Abuja. Adeni was among heads of agencies who attended a closed-door strategic meeting convened by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. And also, former President Olusegun Obasanjo said the fuel subsidy, which was removed by the federal government in 2023, has been reintroduced due to inflation. In an interview with Financial Times, Obasanjo faulted the manner in which the subsidy was removed by the Tinubu administration. Also, the National Working Committee of the ruling All Progressive Congress on Tuesday summoned Senator Ali Ndume to explain his recent utterances against President Bola Tinubu, which led to the former's removal as the Senate Chief Whip. Speaking after the meeting, APC National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje said the party was satisfied with Ndume's apology and will convey the same to the leadership of the Senate with a view to having it review its position of removing him as Chief Whip. We'll now take a short break. When we return, the conversation commences. Welcome back. As I said, we have Ambassador Haruna Warkani and Barrister Hussaini. Maybe I should start with the ambassador. We have 3 tidbits, and we will start with them. Of course, the first is on the claim by the Nigeria Customs that the protesters should relax. Prices of food will come down because part of what has been ordered already in the ports, and they will not tax them. Do you think this is a good news from the highest quarters?
Well, thank you for having me again. Let's say it is a good news, yes, because whatever will lead to a reduction in the price of foodstuffs across the country should be hailed as good enough. However, it goes beyond the immediate. And that also explains to us as a nation some of the policy positions that are ab initio is wrong.
Okay.
You ask a simple question. How is the economy of our neighbor, immediate neighbor, Benin Republic, Togo, that literally operate on zero custom tariff? That's free port system.
Okay.
These economies are benefiting from unnecessarily high taxes at our borders to the detriment of the growth of our economy. That should have been the more fundamental issue that we should actually look at and see how best can we address these issues so that we don't have to come back every time to solve a peculiar or small problem.
So it's not about the remedial measure. You are talking about the fundamental issue. Why should Benin even be there to intercede between Nigeria and maybe the outer world. Am I correct to say this?
Very correct. Very correct. And you see, when people celebrate Dubai,
yes,
of a vibrant economy, what is the fundamentals of Dubai? The essence is whatever you are buying in Dubai most likely is the same gate price from China where it is manufactured because of zero duty. The country has not collapsed. You don't even see the customs. Yeah. You don't see them at the borders, airport, seaport, wherever, land borders. You don't see customs because the country operates on a system that guarantees that yes, things can come in. We are not interested in custom duties that you are declaring every year. All the declarations made before now, where is the money? Where is that revenue?
A very big question. All right. It is a tidbit. Let me have your take, Hussaini. I said it is a glad tidings to hear that food has started arriving at Nigeria's borders. Maybe it will bring down the prices, but if it does, do people have the money to buy?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Hamza. But my main expertise, I cannot claim to be
an expert.
In economics.
Unlike the ambassador.
However,
yes.
The ambassador has, of course, tried to put this into perspectives. That getting this importation done on a zero custom duty system helps economies, and in fact, when it comes in, it shows that it will actually help the country itself to be on track, and of course to get the food to the common man at a cheaper rate. So the ambassador has made something that I will only align myself to him.
Great.
Being not an expert in economics.
All right.
But I believe it will actually, of course, has some effect on the common man.
Okay, what about the claim by Obasanjo? He says the fuel subsidy that was removed by the federal government has actually reintroduced itself because of inflation. I know that last week, the depot owner said landing cost is around 1,100, and we saw the Minister of Budget. He was asked, he was interviewed by one of the television channels that where is the subsidy savings? He said, of course, he will not say where it is. The Accountant General should be able to explain. Can we say the federal government is still paying subsidy, going by this back and forth, people in high places lending their voices to it?
I think nobody can claim offend ignorance about the reintroduction of fuel subsidy. It has been in the news, and I don't think that there is any categorical denial
yes.
from the government about it. And of course, one of the things that people actually, and experts also, challenge the government on is about the way and manner in which this subsidy was removed. So I believe it will have been okay if the right way
yes.
has been followed, or of course maybe certain cushioning steps have been taken before this was actually done, because of course the quagmire we are in right now, everyone knows that it's actually because of the removal of the subsidies.
And I can see Ambassador smiling. The other side of Obasanjo's speech was that those who are importing fuel will never allow the Dangote refinery to work.
Okay.
You can combine the two aspects. I comment on them.
Dangote refinery and its challenges is one thing. Subsidy, its removal, management, and where we are is entirely another matter. And sincerely, we will continue to grapple with this so-called subsidy until we, as a people and a nation, accept and take very stringent but very strange act.
Okay.
Namely, the scrapping of NNPC.
It should be scrapped.
It should be scrapped.
But even Saudi Arabia, they still have their Aramco.
Aramco is different.
Okay.
Aramco is not importing. Aramco is exploring, producing and exporting.
And it has been truly commercialized.
Very good.
Yes.
Now, our problem is that arm of NNPC that imports fuel for everybody is a monopoly. Any Nigerian of our age will remember one super parastatal in the past called Nigerian National Supply Company, which was bringing in rice, flour, cooking oil, sugar, salt, and even toiletries, all classified under the title of essential commodities.
Yes.
It created so much hiccup in the Nigerian economy such that the parastatal became so opaque, so monopolistic, and created distortions that people were selling import duty documents instead of the actual products. And what happened? Nigerian National Supply Company, being the largest parastatal then, before NNPC even came into the being. If you didn't work for Nigerian National Supply Company, you are not working that time. What happened? Dangote became a rich person as a result of scrapping of Nigerian National Supply Company and started importing rice.
So he got his monopoly upset?
Well, he replaced. He and others replaced the NNC.
Okay.
Now, NNPC as constituted today can never manage our supply situation satisfactorily because it remains a monopoly, and between it and Ipman and all those players in the oil sector, corruption will not allow anyone
of them
to do their job the way it should be. Petroleum should be imported by anybody.
Okay.
What we should have is, if you need to keep the DPRA or whatever name you call it today, to check specifications. But not that one single company is importing fuel on behalf of everyone. So today, if we can scrap an NPC, it might be too radical to say, but it will work for us.
All right. Did somebody send a text? He said his honest take is that no matter how terrible Dangote is, he is better than the NNPC. Maybe he's aligning with what you said. He has built the refinery. Let NNPC fix their own, build new ones, give support to others to build more so that they can checkmate the purported monopoly by Dangote. But for now, he said Dangote remains his hero.
Yes, certainly. You can't dispute that. Dangote, for so many reasons, have become something like a super icon, let me say. For even venturing into this act of building one of the largest and most sophisticated refinery, and not just a refinery, but a petrochemical complex on the African soil. I mean, we cannot be happier as a country and as a people other than that.
All right.
Now, Nigeria ordinarily should have plenty of these refineries along our coastline so that our crude doesn't have to be exported.
Everything should be processed.
Let us process and send out our refined products. I think that's what Nigeria should aim to.
Yes, Barrister, we have the last tidbit, which is also important. I don't know whether political parties have rules or they have etiquette. I don't know. I'm trying to make reference to the reconciliation between Ndume and Ganduje's APC. They said, okay, they have forgiven him, and they have already sent a letter to, or they will send a letter to the National Assembly to reverse, his suspension. Is there anything for Nigerians to learn from politicians when they are really fighting?
Well, I think one of the major things that politics, most especially in Nigeria, around party politics, politicians, or let me say political parties, have to learn is that the individual rights of their members cannot be taken away or taken over because they are part of those political parties or they are members to those political parties. I think the problem of Mr. Ndume started when he actually voiced his
anger over what has actually manifested now. Yes.
Happened. And of course, saying that, you know, the fact that you are in this party, you cannot raise any question against the party, to me, is actually trying to challenge the right of, constitutional right of people like Ndume or other party members to voice out their own opinion, which is their constitutional right. You cannot take it away from them. However, also looking from the other angle or from the other, you know, side of the aisle, you can say that Ndume being chief whip is the fact that he was in APC, that he went there. And of course, APC, or to say the Senate majority, can say, okay, we are taking you, we are, removing you from that position or suspending you from that position. Also, you cannot also take that away from them. However, the fact that he is in a political party does not also take away his own constitutional right to voice his opinion over national issues.
All right, that is the legal part. Ambassador, I don't know whether you will say something, but you know, the main topic of the day is waiting for us. Yeah,
well, very brief. APC might need to adopt a more tolerant approach to internal dissent, because when internal dissent disappears, the party also disappears.
All right. Now, the big elephant, consequences of waving Russian flags in Nigeria. The question is to you, Ambassador, what is there in a flag?
Well, a flag is actually a symbol of sovereignty.
Okay.
That's the definition of a flag. It's a symbol of a sovereignty, and therefore it is taken seriously, used in different occasions, fora and what have you, to justify or differentiate between one country or entity and the other.
Okay.
And so it becomes distinctive, it becomes ingrained in the minds of people that once you wave the flag, without even mentioning whatsoever, it is supposed to be recognized as that nation. That's why our flag does not have the word Nigeria, neither any other flag.
To say America,
yes,
or
but
Eritrea.
you see that once you raise the flag, people are supposed to recognize that this represents nation A or B.
So it's a symbol of authority.
It is a symbol of sovereignty.
Okay. And in the eye of law, if I wave another country's flag with disdain, you know, because I know that if you go to maybe ECOWAS building here, or in even some institutions, you see flags of different countries, but they connote something. But in the context of this end bad governance protest, what is the position of those who, you know, raise the flag of Russia in the eye of law?
Well, you see, generally, raising a flag or maybe having in opposition certain flag of another country is not by itself to say maybe something that you will that automatically becomes a crime or something that the law will frowns at. However, where you raise as in this situation in a time of protest, or sometimes when the protests turn to even riot, and another country's flag was raised on another country's soil, it connotes a lot of things. One of the things that it may run that person that does it into, that person may be committing actually a treasonable offense. Yes. Why do I say so? It's simply because both of our major criminal laws, talking about the criminal code and the penal code, that's the criminal code in the southern Nigeria applicable to, while the penal code applicable to northern Nigeria, bring in provisions against treason. So, treason on its own, when you take treason entirely, it means that maybe waging a war against the president to intimidate or overthrow the
country,
the president.
Okay.
That is treason itself. However, there are also treasonable felonies. Those felonies that are close to treason, they are not. You cannot tell. define them as treason,
outrightly.
but they're outrightly, but they're close to treason. So those felonies, just like the waving of this flag, may run into that. That is, for example, the intent that you have to, for example, I think under section 410 of the Penal Code, it says when you have an intent of inviting a foreign national to invade Nigeria, then that is actually treasonable. And that can be up to, like, punished up to with, a life imprisonment.
Life?
Yes. So
as if you kill somebody.
Yeah. Yes. So I actually that shows that. That also is something that even though proving the intent of person is quite difficult. However, you are to do some overt acts that the court may now look at and say, okay, we can construe this to mean that you are calling on Russia to invade Nigeria. And of course, in a situation whereby Russia is accused internationally of invading another country, and now we have some other person raising the flag of that country in his own country, that will run foul of the law, and the court may actually define it as treasonable, even though it's not treason entirely. Let me reiterate, because somebody say I say treason. No, it may be treasonable felony.
Okay, this is highly technical. We'll come back to that. Yes. Now, in diplomatic parlance, what is the nexus? Why is it that these young people do not raise the flag of America? They don't raise the flag of Germany. They don't raise the flag of Niger or Benin. They went and got the flag of Russia. As a diplomat, is there any nexus?
There is a nexus. Okay. I think it's a social nexus.
Okay, social nexus.
Yes, it's a social nexus. In the sense that lately in West Africa, you have seen what has happened with the Sahel states, namely Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And the intrinsic participation of Russia to say gradually replacing America and France within the sub-region. And beside the official level, we have seen how the civil populations in these countries came to see that, there is a difference between a colonizing force, namely France and America, and a friendly country, namely Russia, that is coming in to perhaps do certain things differently. It might interest all of us to know that these young lads that we see on the streets as our children are even more informed of world events.
These young people?
These young people. Social media has created an enormous opportunity for everyone to know what is going on. It is left for the individual to reason out. Why is this so? Why has it happened this way or that way? The radio is also there. And you see, in northern Nigeria, for instance, almost everyone you will find, including the Fulani man in the wild,
you have radio
made a small transistor radio that he listens to events and what have you. And so it will not be surprising to see that Nigerian citizens have willingly decided to wave the flag of another country here, because they have seen what has happened in Burkina Faso, particularly what has happened also in Niger, and they have appreciated the changes that have suddenly taken place. Burkina Faso, Niger are earning much more money now than ever before independence from their mineral resources, because France is no longer in charge. And so there is a social transformation that is going on, which maybe some sections of the Nigerian population might not know or appreciate. I think that explains the reason why some of these young people are there. Now, government saying, for instance, that there are foreign forces, perhaps engineering these boys and the rest of them. Yes, like my colleague here has said, maybe the law courts will prove that. But going to the extent of, let's say, arresting a tailor.
Yes, we have seen
who
quite a number.
Is sewing a flag, I think that is also stretching some of these fundamentals too far. Because if you go to market somewhere, stationary market, like let's say UTC here in Abuja.
Or Wuse Market.
Or Wuse Market. You could buy literally any flag of any country.
They are there.
They are there.
And they were sewn by Nigerians, very likely, or imported from another country.
No, they were sewn, most of them were sewn here, because people need them for certain occasions. If you are, for instance, identifying with a particular country that they are friendly with, and you put their flag, that will not constitute and should not constitute an offense.
Yeah.
Like he said.
Yeah, the intent
usually
is very important.
It is the intent. In this particular case, yes, this intent, all Nigerian government needs to do would be to view it from a social breakdown. We didn't have this some few months ago. What is the cause? Why are people suddenly preferring another country to their own?
They said bad governance.
So, let us address bad governance, and let us stop harassing citizens unnecessarily, because that may never solve the problem. As long as the bad governance remains, it means we will have to have more actions which are contrary to the tenets of democracy in an effort to curtail some of this, because you cannot rule out this kind of uprising coming up as long as there is bad governance. There is hunger, there is inflation. It can't stop.
All right, Barrister, the government, security agencies, do you think they acted appropriately? Because we now have those arrested in relation to waving the Russian flag, over 90. And in all, we have over 800 people that have been arrested. They are now cooling their feet in various cells or correctional centers.
Well, let me say it depends on the manner of the reasons of the arrest, and of course what the security agencies presume or assume that they have committed of any offense or alleged offense. And also, I mean, however, in the general view of it, is a constitutional right to protest. It's a constitutional right to have a peaceful assembly. However, even the constitution was very categorical that it has to be peaceful. And however, where there is a breakdown of law and order, or where that protest has crossed such a line, it's now metamorphosed into a riot. You know, protest is not illegal. However, riot is illegal. So
you can riot against this.
Protest is halal, riot is haram.
Okay.
So where there is
but you know Nigeria is a secular state, presumably.
So presumably, so what I'm just saying, maybe I use two Arabic terms. Protest is illegal, I mean it's legal, while riot is illegal.
Yes.
So where actually the rights of other citizens is being actually trampled upon by the protesters, or where actually the protesters stand against the state, then of course the state may come in to bring in order. However, I don't support a situation whereby maybe the agencies, I mean the security agencies, as Ambassador has said, should try to use maximum force, or try to use some maybe reasons to crack down on this peaceful protesters, whereby there's no genuine reason for that. However, I can't as a lawyer also close my eyes to the fact that some certain arrests may have been made, it might have been made on
arbitrarily.
No, actually on right footing.
Okay.
So some arrests may have been on the right way done. However, I also would not support a situation whereby the security agencies will go against the rights of individuals.
All right. Ambassador, what will they do with these 800 people, including tailors? We have young people who are less than 10, 12 years and all that. They are all over. They have been picked by the security agencies. Is it that they have lost foresight as to what is really happening?
Well, I think the security forces actually, one would say, went into overdrive.
Okay.
And therefore, ostensibly overreacted to some of these things. Protests in a democratic setting, like
the lawyer, yes.
barrister here have said, is something that is allowed. And the use of the security forces has also a protocol. For instance, we are not expected to see any soldier in uniform on the streets of Nigeria up to today.
We shouldn't have seen them.
Never.
But they have been there even before the latest protest.
That is the abuse of even state power itself.
Who should be there then?
The police. It's a civil unrest. The police should be there.
There are less than 400,000.
No, whatever it is, that's your own problem too, as a state. Until and unless the government formally declares state of emergency, then we expect now the military to actually take charge. But when things like this start, and you have a combination of all the security forces mingling and, no. Surely, no. There is a protocol, there is a provision, and the reason why Mr. President, for instance, is given executive orders in situations where he possibly cannot go to Parliament and obtain certain permissions to do certain things. He could use executive orders. That does not require all the
fast track
whatsoever.
Yes.
And so, I think we lost so much goodwill in a way because the military are supposed to be isolated from us.
We shouldn't be seeing them.
We shouldn't be seeing soldiers in uniform on our streets. Not at all. You don't see it elsewhere. When you see soldiers, you know that matters have gone beyond the civil situation, and so military can now come. People will even have the reverence, the fear, that fright of the military uniform coming into the streets and say they have taken over. It means the police have failed. In this particular circumstance, police have not failed. You have the regular police, you have the mobile police. These have not been exhausted. Therefore, you cannot even bring the military. However, we have seen how, let's say, the Chief of Defense Staff and his service chiefs, in the forefront of some comments that are more political than military.
Yes, how do you mean, Ambassador?
Yes. It wouldn't be proper for the military to be talking.
Okay.
Now, the military don't talk.
They act.
The military act. And the cardinal doctrine of the military is surprise. It is therefore unfortunate that the military service chiefs can come and threaten the civil population that we are coming. The military just come. You don't see them.
But you can see some of the protesters have gone haywire. They have gone berserk. Look at how they are looting and attacking symbol of authority and even belongings of the civilians.
It is still within the confines of the police.
The police should take care of that. To
handle this matter until the police comes back to say, Oga, we can no longer take it.
We are overstretched.
We are overstretched. At that moment, like I said, it's very cardinal. The state of emergency must be declared to enable army be rolled out to say, now we have taken over, which will mean so many things for democracy. But if we are in the
and taking over at what level? Because we have seen what happened in Bangladesh, for instance.
Well, of course.
So at our level to maybe the state policing, not really taking over government.
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, state of emergency can be at various levels. That's why I say the executive orders of the president should be utilized in such a way that if you are declaring, for instance, a state of emergency in a particular state where this crisis probably is higher than the other, no problem, you should go ahead and do so. And then that will enable somebody. Secondly, and very important too, the military acting outside the powers of emergency remain prosecutable.
How do you mean? Let me ask again.
You are not empowered
to
act in certain circumstances as we are seeing now, killing people.
I can see the lawyer smiling, but we'll come to you.
Killing people.
Yes.
Under whose authority and what authority? Even if you are going to war, war has to be declared. There's always a declaration of war. The reason why countries wait to declare war is to protect the actors against prosecution. In this particular case, the protection is apparently not there.
All right, I'll come back to you. Maybe you are smiling, Barrister Hussaini. Maybe you will say something on this, but the question I wanted to ask you is, what happens to all the underage that are now in the hands of police, civil defense, and what have you? Will they also be tried with the law of treason or treasonable felony? How are they going to manage them? Because I was thinking, even feeding this number.
Well, funny. Based on what the law provides, even when you want to punish as women, for treasonable offenses, two class of people have been exempted and have been put in kind of special care. Not even on treason. Most of the criminal provisions, try to give certain protection to underage and to pregnant women.
Okay.
So where any person is arrested as an underage.
His case is special.
His case is special, and of course, he's even if he is convicted, he's going to be kept, at the pleasure of the president to say, okay, look, this boy, go and
take him to NICON.
Take him and teach him maybe a craft or something that will make his life better, because right now he's not to be punished by that offense that he committed, alleged offense he committed when he was underage. So basically, underage persons and pregnant women are exempted. Well, you mentioned that I may want to say something about the issue of most especially military intervention and security intervention, of course.
In civil cases.
In civil cases. Yes, what the ambassador has said is fully in line that this kind of civil arrest should ordinarily be controlled and by the police. However, we are all actually witness to the fact that some of these things that are being, some of the way and manner or control of this kind of situation by the police in Nigeria, most especially, maybe due to lack of training or due to lacking in manpower, it actually has failed. So sometimes I know they're coming simply because, the military coming simply because the laws have not said exactly at what point. So there's no rightful gauge that you say, okay, this is the exact point that the military.
So there's a thin line.
So there's a thin line that maybe the government is utilizing to say, okay, we are looking at
capitalize
this,
on that. More so, they say there are foreign sponsors and all that.
Ordinarily, the military, as the ambassador said, have actually no basis to come in to a civil situation such as the one we have.
All right, Ambassador, the Nigerian immigration, they said they have put the sponsors of this on watch list. Is this within the confines of law, or is just a threat to force them out of the scenes?
Well, once more, we can clearly see the obvious abuse of powers. The immigration is supposed to be concerned with movement across the borders.
Yes.
Movement of citizens and non-citizens across your jurisdiction. That is the role of the immigration service. And to enable immigration do that, they now have to identify who is a citizen by way of issuing passports or any other means of identification. Going forward, when some people intend to cross the border, for instance, illegally, in this case, you don't have a valid travel document, namely a passport or a travel certificate or any forms of identity, you are expected to be arrested. But for the immigration to say they have placed even an embargo on accounts,
yes,
I think that's going too far. And beside and outside the jurisdiction of the service, because how do you prosecute? There are agencies of government at the level of commissions. What is the EFCC doing?
If it is about maybe influx of illegal funds
Very
to
good. The EFCC,
finance the
ICPC were set up to do exactly this. If you have information, share the information. You are all security agencies. You are not uniformed, but you are security agencies. This is the time to say, you know what, Mr. A, B, and C are doing XYZ against the nation. We have this credible information. But however, please reconfirm this and take appropriate action. This flow of funds is to enable protesters enjoy maybe some services and what have you during this period and so forth. We need to prevent them. But that is the act that is covered by EFCC, not necessarily the immigration. If you block these people, when they come to the borders, yes, you have a right to deny them entry. But are you also going to deny a Nigerian re-entry into his country of origin?
If he's coming maybe to protest from Niger or from Sudan or from...
Whatever he is doing.
Once he is a citizen.
He is a citizen.
You can't ask him not to come in.
Definitely not. So you can see that immigration has its own limitations.
Yes.
But it does not prevent you from sharing credible intelligence and asking the relevant bodies to do their job.
Yes.
I think that's where we normally will have issues, because when you go into panic mode, you are most likely going to touch the wrong buttons, which is what is happening now. The entire military setting, security forces have been too agitated to a point where the functions, separation of powers are clearly blurred. And so this one is doing the job of this one is doing the job of the other. In this present situation, soldiers have killed, police have killed, protesters who have only but a placard. Today you may be in power, tomorrow surely you are not going to be.
But in Nigeria, people believe that you can eat your cake and have it.
No, not at all. It cannot continue like this. The Guinean former president has just been jailed.
It's a good example.
It's a very, very good example. Hussaini of Chad. It's a very good example. There are so many of them, presidents before, that saw that the world belonged to them as of that time and exercised maximum and illegal authority to a point where nobody had the right to question whatever actions they were taking. However, a day after being in power, you will find that you are alone and face to face with the law.
And no immunity.
There's no immunity.
So now, Barrister, how do we advise the security forces? Do you think they have an excuse for allowing their roles to interlope and at the end of the day infringe on the rights of the citizen? Do they have any cover in the eye of law to say, okay, soldier, instead of maintaining his jurisdiction, he has done the work of the police, and at the end of the day, he overstretched his boundaries? What will happen at the end of the day?
No, actually, there is a statement made by the ambassador that the security have been operating recently like they're in a panic mode. I think that's the exact phrase used. So I believe generally, security forces or the security sector have all their roles to play. So if they fail to go within their rules, actually, sometimes even the goal that they want to achieve may fail. Okay, I have a personal experience around this with immigration, whereby a Nigerian was taken to the screening center of immigration, detained for, I think several months, let me say, and the law does not allow the immigration to do that. So automatically, even if this person, assuming he committed an offense,
yes,
he is in the wrong place. sorry, he was in the wrong place.
Yes.
And as far as that person is, as far as you are concerned, what you want to achieve has already failed, has automatically failed. If you have taken that person to court, you will fail to prosecute him in the right way. However, if you have taken the right way of saying, okay, we are taking this person to another agency, maybe which is rightfully supposed to detain or prosecute this person, that goal of punishing that person or bringing that person to book will have been achieved. So ordinarily, once the security agencies, fail to, run the race within the rules, then automatically they may fail to achieve the goal.
All right, we are approaching the end of the program, but this question is to you. You are the people who say ignorance is not an excuse. I'm going back to the issue of the flag, Russian flag. Now, the elders, you have given, an explanation as to how the young lads will be treated in the event they get to court. What about the matured adults that wave the flag with disdain, allegedly, because they will ask them, what will happen to them? Are we going to see quite a number of youths serving the rest of their lives in prison? Or how are they going to resolve this impasse? Well,
as I said, actually, once you are of age, then the law will actually catch up with you. And where you committed something, as you also rightly mentioned, Hamza, is actually the law, the ignorance of the law is never an excuse. So whereby a person of age and capacity, commits, does certain acts, that the law may look at it in this way. As I earlier said, I want to reiterate this, that the only burden now that will be on government about these flags is to show that, bring in at least 2 witnesses to say, okay, this person actually raised this flag with the intention of inviting Russia, for example, to invade Nigeria. This is something that they may actually raise. In fact, I read an article by Professor Farouk Perogi where he's saying that, look, they're not raising Russian flags. It's the military flag they are raising. So actually, it's a defense.
The colors.
So they are going to hire lawyers. We will go and do it.
I think they should come for you.
So it's a technical issue here. But it's something that indeed depends on what the court will look at.
Yes.
And how, what witnesses are provided. Because, in fact, proving this needs at least 2 witnesses. Yes, so either 2 witnesses that will say, I agree that this flag was raised because he wants to invite, or 2 different witnesses. One will say,
it's actually, I want Nigerian military to take over.
No, I saw him saying, even one will say, I saw him raising flag with the intent of inviting Russia. The other will say, I heard him even saying, Putin, come to our aid. So actually, it's something that we will argue it and try to out in court.
We have to round up. I will round up with Ambassador. And maybe a word of caution, because even communication is now a problem. Here in Daily Trust, we had a close shave with one of the security agencies yesterday because they intercepted the communication of one of our producers of this program. And then, okay, she has to produce that person who featured on our program and spoke on the protest.
Well, it is expected. Naturally, that's how the security operates. And running a media house cannot be easy. Those are the challenges of the
hazard of the profession.
But I think the plea we will have is that this thing is about Nigeria.
Okay.
And so let us look at it from a human angle.
Okay.
And let us be more compassionate amongst ourselves. Because whatever happens, at the end of the day, we will still go back and be the same Nigerians. If the government was set up for the benefit of everyone, then the security agencies ought to know that in a democracy, this expression of freedoms that have been granted by law might entail so many things. And that's why Aristotle says democracy will kill itself because of the excessive freedom it grants people.
All right. We hope ours will survive. Yes. Ambassador Haruna Warkani, thank you very much for coming to the program and for putting some of these existential threats in context. We hope to have you some other time.
Thank you for
Barrister Hussaini, thank you for giving the legal perspective and for even providing respite for multitude of these young people that are in custody of various security operations. We hope to have you again. And viewers, that's a wrap on today's package. We hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics, airing every weekday, and our special package on Fridays, during which we open the telephone line for you to comment on national issues. Stay safe wherever you are. Nigeria is ours. We have to remain here to salvage it. Bye-bye for now. I'm Hamza Idris.